Welcome everybody, this is How to English Teach and Learn with Gav Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions are personal and references will be given when necessary.
Welcome back to the show, and welcome to the followers, and welcome to me.
Everybody's welcome.
Soft and squishy, nice and friendly. It's How to English TEFL pod with Gav Em.
That is all the words I would use also to describe this podcast. Where are we going to start, Gav, today?
We should explain that this is a podcast for TEFL teachers and students who want to practice their listening skills, maybe get some TEFL-y tips on how to teach and learn, and what's very important, Em, is that we return to topics and subjects and vocabulary and grammar that we may have covered before and we might have forgotten. So,
Gav, we've been doing this podcast for 5 years. Have we ever gone back and revised anything?
I think we made a couple of corrections in the past. There were some errors.
Yeah, but maybe we should proceed as we would in a lesson or would in our courses. Although I must say I'm falling a little bit short with revision in my lessons. Do you really focus on that then every week? You say to your students, what did we do last week?
I sometimes do, if I'm a bit short on ideas for the new lesson.
Need a filler, okay.
And also if a student misses the lesson, I might say to the other students in the class, hey class, what did we do last time? Can you just remind me? And tell our absentee student.
I definitely do that if there's been someone missing, but I do just want to move on generally. But it's so important, isn't it? It's so important so that our students remember what they've learned, which is so key to learning, is repetition.
I think it is.
So what exactly is it you want to go back and repeat or revise, Gav?
Do you remember a couple of episodes ago I was eliciting some language from you?
Yeah, I remember it was a very mixed list of words that had come up in all of your lessons.
And we were basically demoing what it might be like when a student starts describing something to their teacher, and then the teacher has to rack their brain in order to find those missing words.
That is right, yes. And I remember you described everything so well. So I'm actually now thinking I can remember a couple of those words.
And what do you remember from that activity?
The first word that comes to my mind is coot, because I remember we were talking about the feet of the water birds and how amazing they were.
That's right.
And I also remember, the conversation about the part above your nose and what the name of that is, that people get pierced. It's funny because I remember the conversation more than I remember the word.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah, and I remember you pointed out it wasn't something, and now I'm not sure if that's the word. Was it philtrum?
It wasn't the word philtrum. It was the other word.
So it was septum.
That's it. The bit that you described as being pierced.
That's right. So that's really interesting, isn't it? Because I remembered both of those words. So maybe as teachers we shouldn't focus so much on the words it isn't. We should always focus on the words that it is, because I've mixed those up. I remember we were talking, because we talked quite a long time about the thing for climbers that connect you to the rope, which was a carbiner. I think I said carbine to begin with, but it was
Isn't it a carabiner?
Oh, I remembered it a little bit, but not the correct pronunciation. Again, I've got a problem with that.
Close enough, Em.
Carabiner. Okay. So those are the ones that come to mind because I enjoyed you talking about them, and also we talked maybe at length about them. I'm really enjoying this analysis, Gav, because I worry sometimes with vocabulary in my lessons that I'm spending too long on it, but it really helps to remember a 5-minute explanation of a word, and I've got that word.
After 5 minutes, Em, I might have switched off.
Well, I think that's important. It's a two-way conversation.
Right, okay.
Which is what we were doing. We were going back and forth with it. It wasn't you just giving me a lecture about climbing equipment. We were really interacting. So I'm thinking just getting the students thinking, getting them engaged, and then arriving at that word together.
That is very nice. I think also what you said about having two words could be confusing, where you ended up with philtrum and septum.
Yeah.
That left you confused which one was which, because they were not exactly new words completely, but you didn't know what either of them signified.
Which is maybe why you shouldn't teach borrow and lend in the same lesson.
I'm not sure.
They do go well together, don't they, obviously, but I think that is a reason why students get mixed up. So what were the other words, Gav?
Am I eliciting, or am I just telling you now?
Just give me a key word.
Army.
Oh, that was trench. Yeah, I didn't like talking about that. That was a bit negative, so maybe I didn't remember that one.
Dogs.
Dogs. Oh, yeah, we talked about pugs and French poodle. No, not French poodles. French bulldogs.
That's it. 2 distinctly different breeds of dogs.
Trying to remember why I don't remember that conversation. I think because it was a bit confusing, and I think my brain just decided, no, I don't want to deal with it.
Maybe it was a bit too difficult. How about this keyword? Mill?
Yes, that was pulley or winch, I think it was. We were talking about pulley. Different ways of hoisting, let's say. And yeah, I think maybe I didn't remember that because it's not a word I would use every day.
It's not a very common word.
Yeah, I haven't really thought it important.
There was also jousting.
Yes, lance. That was the thing they hit each other with. Yes, lance.
And you described how to lance a boil.
Yeah, we don't have to go back to that. But yeah, that was another one that maybe I don't need, so I haven't got it fresh in my mind.
Well, I think we've covered all of those words from the previous episode, Em.
It was very effective. The keyword thing really triggered my brain, and it was so fresh. That was a long time ago that we did that, so it proves that these methods do work. A long time eliciting, good conversation about the words, connecting maybe as well to personal experience. I remember talking about going around the pond and looking at the feet of the coot, blah, blah, blah. And then keywords to remind our students of that word.
So those are good tips for teachers and learners. Elicit an emotional response from your students. See if they can put these words into context. See if they've got experiences of waterfowl, of jousting, of pulleying things.
Is that a verb? Maybe. Yeah.
And that will contribute to their retention of those new words.
So how's this week been, Gav?
Thanks for asking. This week has been pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, again, very good week. What were your highlights?
I had a few, and I made some notes as usual. And except for my test M on previous words activity, I have a question for you, Em. What do you do if your students are tired?
Start slowly.
You mean speaking slowly?
And yeah, speaking and just...
Speak softly?
Possibly, quietly, softly.
That might make them even more tired. They might start dozing off.
Well, I start slowly and then warm up. I think something like a game or a fun activity just to get them in the mood. I would be very enthusiastic myself. I would have a lot of energy. I suppose it's hard to describe, but I would be in a mood that was positive, but also demanding. So I would be expectant, looking at them as if to say, why are you not responding and giving me the same energy I'm giving you? And I think that works quite well.
That's quite effective.
It has been in the past, yeah. I generally find my students will mirror my energy.
That's nice. So you say to them, I'm here, I'm showing up, now I expect you to do the same.
Yeah, but I don't actually say that. I say that with my body language, with my eye contact, with my questions, with my expectant looking face. Just like, why are you here if you're not going to just tell me everything and be enthusiastic? What do you do?
I might switch to something a bit more fun than just talking and listening and doing worksheets.
Which is what?
We might watch a video and I could say, what happens next in the video? Or have you heard this really cool song? Let's all chat about it. This is what I'm really into at the moment. How about these dance moves in the video? Have you seen anything like this before? Would you like to try it?
That's nice. But would you be watching them watching it to check that they weren't just nodding off? And I always worry with videos or something like listening that they're just not engaged?
I'm always watching.
Are you? Okay. Eyes are on them.
I'm very focused on the students' reactions and checking that they're entirely focused on the lesson.
Good. Okay. Well, if that works, then that's good.
I think it's nice to invite them into your own personal space and say, for example, I'm really into Zumba at the moment. What do you lot think? And they all say, not really. Gav, it's not 2013. What's going on? And I say, yeah, but it's really cool. Have a look at this little clip from this video. Let's have a chat about it. I find putting on videos or music, students do get quite excited.
Good. I think you've got to pick something that is universal. Obviously, if you're very excited about something very niche, then you can't really expect them to get excited. But maybe throw it back at them. You know, have you done this before? What kind of workouts have you done in the past? And then just get them talking.
That's it. And if the students are particularly tired, just get them up, get them to walk around and do a little bit of exercise and then get them sitting down again and you can continue.
And if it's an online lesson, you just say, I'll be here, just walk around a bit, come back when you're ready.
Yeah, well, they've all got Bluetooth headsets on anyway, so they can just get up and wander around, make a coffee, maybe tell you how they like their coffee, how to use the machine, maybe put some laundry in the washing machine. Talk me through it.
Okay, that's nice. Just do something. That is really good.
Get the blood moving.
Yeah.
A little bit of exercise, some fresh air, maybe open the window.
Yep, that's good. It does remind me actually of a lesson that I have with two students who I don't think really get on with each other. They work together and they have their English lesson together, but I don't think they are very sociable, or I don't think they really talk to each other unless they're in their English class, I don't think, which is a bit of a weird dynamic actually, and that the fact that they're speaking to each other in another language also, I think, affects their relationship. So I start the lesson and I see them sitting there together and they're not talking to each other, and then I have to kind of get them out of themselves and connecting, and a lot of the time they're talking to me, not each other. A lot of the time they're just correcting each other, actually, as a kind of competitive thing. And it is hard, actually, for the first 5-10 minutes. And then I find that they do transform a little bit. They become different personalities, almost. It's like their English personality is different. And by the end of the lesson, we're all having fun and smiling, and the mood's fantastic. It just shows you the power of language, maybe.
That's incredible. But you say when they come back again, you have to start right from scratch.
Yeah, it just starts from the beginning where the energy's really low. Maybe they are just tired. It's at the end of the day, so maybe they have just finished work and they're a bit fed up with everything. And then it's like English is their fun thing, that they can speak English and talk about stuff that's not work related. So I feel like they really come alive in the lesson.
It's a really nice opportunity for them.
Yeah, and by the end of it, they're kind of friends, which is nice.
And then they immediately forget, and then you have to start again.
Like a memory wipe, and yeah, we're back to zero. It's weird. Gav, it must be time for a break.
Sure, all this teaching and learning is exhausting.
I'll put on the kettle.
Followers, if you enjoy listening to our podcast, watching our show on YouTube, or reading the transcription on our website, show your support by visiting ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/howtoenglishpod.
And get us a coffee to show your appreciation.
Links in our show notes. How about your week? What have you been up to?
I'm plodding along, really. I've had some groups for a very long time, so I'm just wondering what to do to keep it fresh. That's my focus at the moment. How do I inject a bit more
Oomph.
Oomph, thank you. That is the right word. How do you oomph it, Gav? How do you oomph it up?
The last time I oomphed a class, I asked them what they wanted to do, and they said, how about, Gav, you find some questions online and we will answer them.
Okay, that's fun. It's good they had an idea.
It was nice, wasn't it?
How did you find these questions?
I searched on the internet. I wrote questions for English classes, and a big list came up, and I chose one of those. and I clicked on the first website that came up.
Sorry to interrupt, but it was something you recognised, like a trusted website, not some random thing.
Oh no, it was completely random.
Okay, you do live dangerously, don't you?
I was ready to take a risk.
Right. So how did that work?
I asked the students to choose a number between 1 and 140.
And that's how many questions there were, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, nice. So it's totally random. You didn't know what was coming. They didn't know what was coming.
I read the question.
140 questions. What do you mean you read it?
That the student numbered before reading it to the student, just in case, because I thought there was a bit of a chance that there would be some odd things in there.
So you were just feeling like, let me see number 110, it's right on, and then you're reading it thinking, yeah, that's okay. And if it wasn't okay?
I would go to the next one.
Right, and if the other student said a number, you just totally randomly pick.
Just choose one that looked good.
Good.
We got questions like, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
How about this question, which I think was around 60-something? Can we still have a democratic capitalist society whilst not damaging the environment?
Blimey, these are mixed up.
They're very mixed up and quite random, but the students were loving it.
Well, that is a super idea. That really does make everyone feel this is different and we haven't done anything like this before. I will try that.
And if the teacher is a bit short on questions themselves or direction or doesn't have the materials for that particular lesson, I think it's good just to have a quick search online, find some nice random questions, check them first, make sure they're appropriate. And the students, I think, really enjoy it. They feel like they've got a little autonomy over the activity as well, even though it's a bit random.
Good idea. I think maybe I need to be out of my comfort zone to make it feel fresh to them. Because if I go in all planned all the time, I think they sense that and it gets a bit repetitive maybe. I'm going to try something different.
That's how to oomph it.
We've now made another verb that wasn't a verb, but good. Oomph is good. I had a little bit of an issue with some vocabulary this week. And, well, it's not so much the vocabulary, that was fine. It was my elicitation of that vocabulary because we were playing a game that was a grid. It was a PDF with a grid and there were pictures on the grid. It was like an 8x8 square with lots of pictures and they had to pick a picture and then describe the picture and talk about it. That wasn't really the issue. The issue was that nobody seemed to be able to navigate me to the square that they needed to choose. So I thought we need some vocabulary for this. We need to be able to talk about this grid in a way so that it's clear and it's easy, and it's really good for things like Excel. If students are trying to navigate someone around Excel, they need to be able to talk about.
So you hadn't numbered the grid, say for example 1 to 8 and A to H.
No, I hadn't. I hadn't numbered them, which is another way of doing it. If you want to do the sort of fast pick a square, that's a great tip. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to see how well they could navigate because there are times where people need to talk about this sort of stuff. So I said, right, we've got two directions. We've got the vertical and the horizontal, yeah? And you've got the vertical ones, which...
Vertical goes from top to bottom.
Yes, exactly.
And the horizontal is across.
Yes, and the vertical ones, they said a few things and they didn't get it right. So I said, okay, it's the same as, you know, in Greek or Roman architecture, you have these things that go up and down, like a long thing.
Are they lifts?
Well, this was the problem. They said pillar.
Oh, yeah, and for holding a building up.
I said, yeah, that's right. It is a pillar. Yeah, it's not pillar. It's a different word for pillar. Do you know another word for pillar?
Is it column?
Yes, that's the one. So I got column eventually after a bit of a bodge. And then we started on the horizontal. It's like, yeah, you know, the one that goes across. And they said a couple of things that weren't right. And I said, you know, it's the same as the action when you're in a boat and you want to go across a lake or something.
Paddle.
That's right. So we ended up with pillars and paddles. So the third pillar with the second paddle, it just was a mess.
You taught the right words. You said columns and rows, which I think is the word we were missing. It's not paddle. And they still couldn't remember the correct words?
They got it eventually, but it was confusing. So my question is, Gav, the elicitation technique works only when they know what the word is that you want to elicit. If they get the wrong word, You've totally fudged it up.
Going back to philtrum and septum.
Yes.
You've got two words and you're not sure which one's which and which one you should use for which situation.
So this is something I struggle with because elicitation is my go-to technique.
I don't do as much elicitation as you.
Because of that reason.
Possibly. And also sometimes the students don't know the words and I feel terrible trying to get blood out of a stone.
Well, that's the other thing. If you're just constantly saying it's this and they're looking at you blankly, then it's difficult for both of you. It's like they're not giving you what it is you want and you're not able to get that word out of them. So elicitation is a double-edged sword, Gav.
I agree. Can I give you a little teaching tip, Em?
Please do.
What I do, if I'm teaching online and I have a PDF open, like the one you described, you've got your table, you've got your pictures, you might have a few words. I go to the typing tool and I type below the area that we're focused on. I say to my students, yeah, that word, it begins with C. I type the letter C, O, and they can see it and they're all seeing the word building underneath.
I do that when I have a gap fill or something to do.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? I type the word there and nobody feels any shame.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that gets a bit boring though, to be honest.
No, I don't do it every time.
No, but it's nice sometimes when you think, oh, this is such a good donkey bridge.
What is a donkey bridge? For anyone who hasn't caught episode 3, donkey bridge.
Yeah, it's a way of remembering a word. And it's a bridge in your brain connecting a word and a memory or some way of remembering a word. And I just think if you get a way of remembering it and it works, that's brilliant. That's gold, isn't it? When you say, oh, it's that thing and it's the same word as this and you're like, yeah, they really got that connection. It's just when it goes wrong and then you think, I've actually made it worse now. It's better they didn't know the word rather than just saying the wrong word. You imagine they're in a business meeting and they say, yeah, it's the second paddle. And you're like, no.
There is a chance for that to go terribly wrong.
I think that's it, really. We're going to have to leave it there. Just that is the risk you take.
Well, keep changing it. Don't do too much elicitation. If you can start typing out the letter on the PDF or on the board.
Yeah.
Somebody, hopefully, will come up with the right word. And if not, no shame. Teacher writes the word on the board. And we all know it. We'll copy it into our notebooks.
Yep.
I think this leads perfectly to my next and possibly the final point of today's show, which is we need to keep our explanations simple. Now, do you agree with this?
Yes, wholeheartedly, because our students are overwhelmed sometimes with information, and whatever you're trying to teach might be quite complicated. So I think short, direct, concise explanations with time to absorb that idea is optimum.
So we could be using a teeny tiny little story that contains this object that might stay in the student's memory when they think about pulleys or carabiners or French bulldogs.
Yeah, storytelling is very big at the moment, isn't it? But a short story, yeah.
It could also be a bridge between two words.
Yes.
Connecting your architectural columns with the columns in your table.
That's true.
Could I ask you to simply describe these words to me?
Am I taking the role of a student or am I me?
You are Teacher M.
Teacher M.
And I am Student Gav. And we have just come across the word pipe.
Okay. In what context?
What contexts are there, teacher?
Well, you're saying that the word pipe is on its own in the middle of a blank page and
it
the
just
student
fell on
is
the
saying...
floor and I looked at it and I thought, what the heck is a pipe? A P-I-P-E? Teacher M, come to my rescue.
It really depends on what you're talking about, Gav, because pipe has a lot of meanings. You could be talking about a pipe you smoke, which is quite old-fashioned. Sherlock Holmes had one. You could be talking about a water pipe, which brings water from one area to another, like a washing machine pipe has an outflow and an inflow, for example. You could be talking about a chimney pipe, which takes the smoke away. What these all have in common is it's some kind of tube, I suppose. that has water or smoke or something flowing through it.
Wow. I think I have learnt pipe.
Yeah, which kind of pipe are you going to use? Like what?
I was thinking of a wind instrument, but you covered all the other stuff.
Yeah, I forgot that one. Yeah.
That was such a good description, better than the dictionary, which said, usually but not necessarily of circular cross-section, used mainly to convey substances which flow, liquids and gases, slurries, powders, masses of small solids, or a wind instrument, or a short, narrow tube with a small container at one end used for smoking tobacco.
Well, I think I got the key word, which was flow and circular. Maybe I said that. But things like slurry I wouldn't mention because students are going to get a bit stuck on that.
I think if they don't know the word pipe, they're probably not going to know the word slurry.
Yeah. So it's really, like you said, making it simple, short, and not too
dense.
Not too dense.
In other language that may confuse, distract the student.
Like you said, Gav, it's making it short and simple.
Would you like some more words then?
That was quite fun. Yeah, go on then.
How about we turn the page in our student book and I see the word or.
Or, how's that spelt?
Teacher M, it's spelt A-W-E. Could you please explain what it is?
A-W-E, or. Or is a feeling of surprise and wonderment. I think wonderment might be a bit tricky, but it's like, wow, in an emotion.
I think I need a picture. Put a picture in my head, please, Teacher M.
Imagine you're on a tour of America and you get in a bus and you go to the Grand Canyon and you get out and you look at it and you feel awe.
Wow.
You do need an example, you're right. Always good to give an example.
That's a nice example. I felt awe.
Because things are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know awesome.
Oh, that's easy to remember then.
So awesome is from awe.
I found another word, but I don't know what this one means.
I thought you didn't know what any of them meant.
Flim-flam.
Flim-flam. You mean you really don't know what this one means?
Just don't know what that means.
Flim-flam is like rubbish or
Rubbish like litter, trash.
No, wait. Not that. Flim-flam is doubtful and unconfirmed information or data which a lot of people believe, I think.
Oh.
Because otherwise, how would you know about it? I think it is quite common. And I think it often goes together with the word debunk.
Ah.
So debunk is to prove false or explain as false. So people say things like, can you debunk the flim-flam about the keto diet?
These are all very nice words that are explaining it perfectly to me.
Good.
Nonsensical or insincere.
Oh, is that the same as what I said?
A little bit more.
Kind of, okay.
Em, you look slightly crestfallen. What is that?
I feel a little bit crestfallen. I think it's like disappointed and sad.
That's exactly what it means. I'm getting some really nice examples. Could you tell me when you might be crestfallen? This word might pop into your head because something happened.
Well, when I've really worked hard to define a word and you then tell me I've not got it right, I am crestfallen. Or if I had an exam that I was studying really hard for and then I failed it, I would be crestfallen. I always feel like it's something that falls out of you, like a feeling of hope just comes plummeting down.
Your crest might be those feathers on your head that you're displaying to all the other birds.
Right.
And then you see there's another bird with an even more impressive crest.
Yes.
Which puts you to shame slightly, and then your crest will fall, and you will be crestfallen, I guess.
Think about it, of course.
That's a nice picture, isn't it?
It is. Think about a disappointed peacock.
I've got one more word for you. To be frustrated. This is a word I often have to describe to my students because they seem to lack this word.
Yeah, it's such a good word. It's when you can't do what you want to do and you're a bit angry about it and you feel very, frustrated. Something is stopping you. I used to think it was very similar to angry, but it's not the same. I think you can be angry about a situation, that has got nothing to do with your progressing or whatever. It's just frustration is really when you have that feeling of not being able to do something.
Yes, it seems really important. That's a nice word to have to describe to others, or simply to think to yourself, I'm quite frustrated at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's described as the feeling of distress or annoyance at an inability to change or advance in something.
Nice list of words, Gav.
Thanks, Em. Thanks for describing them so well and putting all those pretty pictures in my head.
So I suppose now it is time for...
Quiz of the Week.
What have you got for me this week, Gav?
Em, I popped to hobbylark.com. They've got a nice list of party games, and I've chosen one which is called Family Feud.
Oh, that's called Family Fortunes in the UK, isn't it?
It is. Do you know this game, Em?
I think so.
Can you describe it to us?
I think it's in sections. It starts with you have two teams, two families, in fact, and one of each of those families has to go and answer a question. For example, we asked 100 people, what is the most popular thing to take on holiday? And then they have to buzz, and the first one to buzz says something like flip-flops, and if it's the top answer or a very high answer on the survey, they get the control of the game. Then the family have to continue with that theme and try and get as many top answers as possible. I think it's like the top 10 answers. And if they don't get that many, then the other family get to try. And if they get words that are higher on the survey, then they get the points.
That is described perfectly. That's amazing.
Quite hard.
You must have watched that a lot, Em.
We did. We definitely did. More than blankety blank, which was the quiz from a few weeks ago.
Do you think you could play this game in your class with your students, whether it's a group class or a one-to-one?
Definitely. Well, one-to-one, yeah, you could. Just ask the questions. We asked 100 people and see if your student can get the top 10 answers.
And what are we practicing in this activity in our TEFL teaching and learning classroom?
Vocabulary. A lot of vocabulary. Really good way of eliciting.
It's a really fun game as well.
Yeah, really good.
And before we start, remember you need a pen and paper, and I hope the followers also have their pen and paper because there will be some scoring in this activity.
Okie dokie. I've got mine here. Are we going to play it now?
We are going to play it now.
Yay!
Let's cue the game show music. That's it, lots of clapping. Here we go. You are family M, and you are one member.
I see what you're doing here, Gav. This is a one-to-one, isn't it?
It is a one-to-one.
Hey, go ahead.
I've got a question for you now. We surveyed 100 people, M, and we asked them to name a liquid in your kitchen that you hope no one ever accidentally drinks.
Fabulous.
You've got 5 guesses. Let's begin. Can you give me the top 5 answers?
In the kitchen. All right, we're doing top 5, are we? Vinegar.
Em, you got number 2, which is 30 points.
Ooh, that was good. So it's not the top answer. I'm going to say bleach, but then I don't know if that's in the kitchen, is it? It's in the bathroom usually.
I'm sorry, bleach is not there. Okay, Em, you've got 3 more guesses.
I'm going to say oil.
Cooking oil, number 3. You've got 16 points.
Still not top answer though. Liquid. Oh, washing up liquid.
Soap. I will allow soap as washing up liquid. Well done, that is the top point. You got 46 points for that one. Congratulations. You got 1 more guess.
1 more guess, 2 more answers. I'm going to say... I really don't know. I can't think of anything else. Liquid you wouldn't want to drink. I'm going to say, I don't know, floor cleaner, but that's a bit like bleach.
Oh, no. I'm very sorry, Em. There are no points for that. The 2 you were missing were soy sauce
Okay.
for 4 points, and bacon grease for 2 points.
But that's like oil, isn't it?
It is a bit similar, Em. I agree. Well done. You've got 92 points for the first round. Are you ready for your second question?
Yes.
Em, we asked 100 people to name something that breaks down.
Right. Then I think I'm pretty confident here that the top answer is a car.
Congratulations! Car scores you 44 points.
Nice. I'm going to say people. Oh, really?
No, I'm sorry, but people is not on my list. Em, you've still got 3 more guesses, though. A potential 100 points to get here.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking too hard because people break down emotionally, but no, we're going to stick with machinery.
I thought it was a good answer,
Yeah.
but let's just keep trying.
Stick with machines then. Is machines a word like as a general topic? Machines break down?
No, these could be metaphorical or...
No, you go, no.
Oh, sorry, is that your answer?
Machines, I think.
You can't just say machines. It's just like saying things.
Is that what they do on the game show, Gav? They say to the people, you can't say that. I think you can say anything, can't you?
I think they edit that out.
Right, okay. Well, not machines then.
All right, I'll allow you to have machines because I think you were referring to computers. And of course, computers break down all the time. So you get 17 points.
Well, okay, thank you for your leniency. I was thinking more like factory production line type machines. But okay, yes, computers, cars, what other things break down? Communication.
Communication is correct. Well done. That's another 7 points. And you've still got 1 more to guess.
Quite happy with that. One more that breaks down. Particles, atoms. I don't know what.
I'm afraid particles and atoms are not in our top 100 answers from all of those nice people we asked. You could have said the body.
That's my idea, you see. I was thinking of a health thing. Yeah.
Oh, that would have got you 22 points. You could have said foreign relations. And finally, with only 2 points, you could have got TV. TV's breakdown, I guess, from time to time. Okay, from round 2.
No, I think about things with motors that break down, but I suppose computers haven't really got that. It's changed a little bit.
And from the second round, you got 68 points. Well done.
Not too shabby.
I wonder how the followers are doing, Em.
Me too, Gav.
Round 3, our third and final round, is as follows. We asked 100 people to name another word for book.
Book.
What are your top 5 answers for us?
Right. I'm going to say reserve. Do we mean book as a noun? Sorry, I'm looking at your face now. You look confused. Book like...
Stick with the things that you read.
I think you said name, not another word for. So...
Name another word for book.
I thought you said say another name for book. Okay, let's forget that. I'm going to say novel.
Novel gets you 55 points. That is the top answer, Em. Well done.
Excellent. So what other words are there for book? I'm reading a really good paperback.
Paperback is 10 points. Absolutely brilliant.
So on that, I'm going to say hardback. Really?
I'm afraid that's not there, Em.
Oh, okay. Story.
Story is the second answer. You've got the top 3 answers. You get 16 points for story.
I don't know how many goes have I got left. 1?
You've got 1 more guess, Em.
I'm reading a good story, novel, paperback. This is really hard.
I'm sure the followers are shouting the answers at their radios right now, Em.
Radios. Okay. Tome.
Tome is the 5th answer, gets you 4 points, is totally
way.
random. Yes, you missed pamphlets.
Yeah, but that's not a book.
Volume.
Volume, yes.
Publication.
Nice. Tome, nobody says it, but
They
okay.
don't. All right, you've got an extra 4 there. So
Nice.
I will give you 85 points for round 3. That was absolutely amazing. Congratulations, Em. That is a very, very respectable score.
I loved it, and I loved what it does for the students, Gav. First one was about all the collective words for liquids that you think about in a kitchen, so it's really specific.
I might not have stopped with that top 5 list. I might have just said, class, let's put the game on hold. Give me more of these liquids that you can think of. How about the ones we do want to drink?
Perfect. The second one was great. It was a phrasal verb, so it really does make students practice those things that break down, and it's often quite confusing. So you really go through in a safe way the good and bad things, and you make it fun, and you're like, no, that doesn't break down, that does. And then we had all those synonyms for books, which is just fantastic. What a range of vocabulary and a range of skills.
It is wonderful. So if you're interested in playing this with your students, or students take this into your classroom, it's hobbylark.com, party games, list of family feud questions. We'll put a link in the show notes. Play some games. It's so much fun. It's a great way to learn new words, as Em described.
I will be doing that next week, Gav. I definitely want to try that.
Let us know how you get on, Em.
Will do. Thanks for hosting that one, Gav.
It was a pleasure. Bye.
Bye for now.